Hey Gundam fans, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. Today, we're looking at the GP02 from 0083 Stardust Memory. This is the box for it. It's a little bigger than the traditional Gundam boxes, but that's because this is a chunky boy, and we're going to get into that, all the pieces he has with him. But you can kind of see some of the parts it's shown it comes with. It got a cool pose to this chunky, mean-looking prototype Gundam, and then on the back some cool poses if you wanted to use that as kind of a guide. But yeah, let's jump into it. All right, so yeah, again, this is the GP02 from 0083 Stardust Memory, the rival to the GP01. Even though they were both Gundams, this one in universe was stolen by the Zeon remnants at that time, the Delaz fleet. And yeah, the thing about this is it had a nuclear missile. This was a nuclear Gundam, and so it being stolen was a huge deal. It's got some really cool accessories when it comes to the whole thing. It's got a big old shield that's kind of its like cooling system or something like that. But yeah, let's undress this guy. All right, so here he is without the shield, and I've kind of moved the giant thrusters out of the way to kind of give you a better look at it. And you know, just looking at the design, it's very awesome that this is another prototype Gundam. It's pretty cool how it kind of retains that classic Gundam design, but it does enough to make it look unique. And I think because of it having the nuke and it gets stolen, I really like how the design of it kind of gives it that mean look, the very angular Zeta, but with the eyes. Just, yeah, it fits the fact that Zeon steals it to use it as like an enemy mobile suit. Even reminds me of like the Psycho Gundam in a way, because the Psycho Gundam also ends up having that kind of angular design to kind of help lead to it being kind of the enemy mobile suit of that time. Anyway, yeah, let's just get into articulation. Starting with the head here, you know, funky looking head. It turns around because you can really lift that thing, and that is not canon. And yeah, I mean, look at that. It's almost like there's a door that's opened for it. If you wanted to like stash something in there, what would it be? I don't know, something very small. I mean, that's okay, because then you can get the range you need just in case. I don't know what kind of range you would need there, but I mean, look at that. That looks good for looking up if it's in some sort of flight pose. It doesn't have the typical shoulder armor because it has these giant thrusters. And so let's look at the thrusters here. So the thrusters, or, you know, binders, if we want to call them, kind of what's similar to like the Kshatriya, the Q-Blade. There's a bunch of others that kind of share this kind of similar design here, but you can kind of see where this lifts up. If I hold the arm, I can get it to rotate while it's on this hinge. So a lot of moving there, but also within the binder, there's a thruster. And actually, it looks like, yeah, it's all on one system. So as it's moving, it's pretty cool. You have these multiple thrusters, and they are individually able to rotate. So that is a lot of articulation. But not only that, the back here has a thruster, and it also, the thruster mechanism rotates, but the thruster itself is on a ball joint. So a ton of articulation when it comes to thrusters, so more than you probably need. All right, with the backpack, so this is a backpack without thrusters, although this part moves. How fancy for something like this. So no thrusters, I think, because we've pretty much taken care of that with the binders here. Again, I love this. I love kind of that continuity of the bad guy forces always having like binders associated with their mobile suits, even though, again, this was originally Earth Federation unit. It just got stolen. With the arm, we've got the rotation here, and so so there is that chest piece that does move in. It is a little limited, but you could get it to work. You probably wouldn't really want to do that. I don't know. Let's see. We've got, yeah, the rotation at the bicep. We've got the elbow up and back. And then how high that goes. I mean, when I use this, I feel like it's just a big brick, but really it has a lot of good poses. I guess it's the shield, I think, that really makes this thing a little crazy, but otherwise, I got to say the articulation there is great. If we're looking at the abdomen, let's see. It has its forward and back. It's okay. I think it helps that the hips down here have a lot of movement too. So if you really wanted to pull something off, I think it's doable. Now, as for rotation, so yeah, it's quite a bit. I don't think it can go all the way, but I mean, I think that's all you really need. And we have the side skirts that go up. We have the skirts on the front that go up. We have this, let's see, the back. The back doesn't, but it actually has its own little plug in there. I feel like there's so many jokes I could make about this, but I'm gonna keep it real. And so we can go back with the leg here. We can go, let's see. Okay, once you remove that front skirt piece, you can go forward quite a bit, even though that wouldn't really be, let's see. If I was to move this up. Okay, so it goes up pretty high. It's just that knee that gets in the way. And that knee, wow, what a knee. That's quite the knee pad. And let's see. We kind of look at the engineering behind it. It's very cool. It's a very cool what they've done here with the knee. You know, I like it sometimes. I never really call this up, but you can see with the joints like here or in the shoulder, there's like little metal pins that are put in there, which I'm sure help make these high quality figures, you know? With the leg, let's look at that since we've got this skirt piece off. So it has that option to be dropped there. As you can see, the ball joint moves out quite a bit. So that is more than the GP01. That is amazing. But would you ever do that? No. It's not canon. Maybe in your fanfic, but not here. Let's see. We've got, yeah, it moves back. We've got the leg, or the foot. So that's crazy, man. Look at the size of these boots. I mean, as the kids say, what are those? But really, it's just huge. You can drop down that foot here, and it has like this crazy claw thing in the front that has its own little articulation. Actually, separately, might I add. And then, man, you can do some nasty stuff with this, and you don't need to because it's not canon. At least the options there that might help with stability. I do recommend using this guy on one of those stands, but did I really miss anything? I mean, I didn't talk about the hands, but they have those typical ball joints. But really, this guy, full on, has all the articulation you would need and more. Let's get into accessories. And before we jump into accessories, let's look at the manual here. And I wanted to add, this thing is technically the RX-78GP02A. So, just, you know, more details. Of course, you need those. Looking at the manual here, we're going to see that nuke pretty soon, showing how that plugs into the back. Oh, and this is just going through that articulation that the guy has. You know, kind of the normal stuff. It's showing how the foot's crazier than it needs to be. We got here, yeah, some of the stuff we're to show where you can. I love it how these more recent robot spirits actually already have the hole already built in for a stand instead of having to have a stand connector piece. So that's always really cool. I don't know if it's just for anime or what, but I just love that. So here's showing where, yeah, all the thrusters have all that articulation. If you have tons of thruster effect parts, you can really go all out with this guy's thrusters here. Beam saber, I love the beam saber of this. I'm about to get into it. I love that it's at the hip. It's already plugged in. It's kind of different than like the samurai ninja look on the back. It's like on the side. Love that. And then the shield. This is like the craziest thing about this guy, kind of showing where you can attempt to have him hold it. There's like a place where the hand can go, but does he really hold it? No, just more of rests along the figure with it. It needs its own stand, which is not a bad idea. The nuke plugs into the shield. We'll show that in a little bit, and then just kind of showing how the nuke works with this fella. And, well, it's sold separately where you can fire the nuke. You know, out of all of the Stardust Memory line, that new effect part set, the second one, goes best, I think, with the Stardust Memory figures, just because of all the different things that actually happen in the show and that you can do with the figures. So, all right, let's look at the accessories. We have a hand tree, all the similar stuff you've come to love when it comes to these robot spirits. We've got, you know, the different gripping types, you know, one where it's just open enough for some cool beam saber action, one where it's more closed, that could be for beam saber, or it could be for shield. And then you have the relaxed hands. You got two of them. You've got kind of the open one, And then you got the one that's kind of pointing, but also can be used for, holding a weapon on the barrel. I always say that. And then also, it comes with the additional V-fin, just in case you lose it, break it, whatever. But I like that they do that, because if this is to fall, most likely it's going to pop off. Again, I've said it before, it's going to pop off instead of just break off. All right, and this guy comes with 2 thrusters. More than 2 would have been good, but that's good enough for now. And then we have that, with the GP02, everything is green instead of pink. So where we saw with the GP01 having the beam effect blast part with the detailed part at the end, this has it in green. We've got the 2 beam saber parts, and then we can look here closely and see, yes, I have already broke one of them shortly after I got this, because something's wrong with me. It has to be. Here's the slashing effect piece. All right, here's the shield. So big old guy, very heavy. This is where one part of that nuke is in there. This opens up. And, all right, let's try that again. So this opens, and this opens, and then you get a nuclear launcher. Isn't that great? But what is then connected to his shoulder is the other part of the nuke, and that goes together and makes a giant nuke. There you go. Look how huge that is. Takes out multiple cruisers. All right, let me get the main piece of this guy put together. I want to call out how interesting this design is here, because when you look at this, it has some very intricate articulation, like right in here. And honestly, what I think that just helps with, because you could still get a swivel without that, and really, like, look at how much this moves around. But what I really think that helps is relieve any stress that can cause it to break. These things are so intricately designed. They have very small hinges, very small parts. We can kind of see the metal that's inlaid here. And so just to have that stress when something falls, and look, these things fall, that's really helpful. Yeah, so this plugs into the back right here. So there we go. So that's kind of how we look standing there, like ready to nuke. All right, and so here is that shield. I mean, this thing is crazy, right? Okay, I just kicked the camera, but it has the handle, so you can put it in the hand here, right? But it is heavy. You can see that it is just going to flop. It's going to flop down. So if you're working with this thing, you kind of have to plan out how he's going to hold it. Depending on how you... I would say that if you're just going to put the shield on, you would then have to take some time to pose it correctly, although that looks pretty good and I didn't have to do too much. But it can kind of get in the way, but it's just a cool accessory, really. All right, once you remove part of the nuke from the shield, you can then get that shoulder armor, move it forward, watch the V-fin pop out. All right, it's pretty tough to do, but you can then pull out this little eyepiece here, work really hard to position it correctly, plug your spare V-fin back in, because the one that fell on the floor will be gone forever. Plug this in here, and then, yeah, as you can see, that V-fin just popped off. All right, and then once you got him there posing, you can put the V-fin back on, hoping that you don't lose this one. And there we go, very cool. Kind of has Gelgoog-looking binders to it, even though that's the Gelgoog shoulder armor I'm thinking of. But again, I love kind of that consistency with the design. But yeah, let's get that effect part from that recent option part effect set. Yeah, there's so many names to this. Okay, so this is what comes with the effect part set, but it actually does not fit in here. All right, so that effect part rocket did not work. So this is actually something that I had with my Char robot spirits. So let's see. That actually plugs in. Okay, so here we go. I mean, look at how big this thing is. Again, that would you'd probably just put another effect stand here, or a stand here to hold that up, but you can kind of see how big this is. All right, a couple things I want to show off here. So like I said, I love how the beam sabers, there's 2 of them. It actually comes out here. I love that look, where you can just kind of take it out. What's interesting about like the camphor, for instance, that kind of does the same thing. What you're pulling out are just the tops of it to give it the impression that the beam saber had been pulled out, and it comes with separate beam sabers. But yeah, you can pull that out, plug it in here. You know, the other weird thing too is while it comes with that beam rifle effect part, just the green version compared to the pink on the GP01. This unit doesn't actually come with any sort of gun or rifle for it, so it's really just an extra effect part in general. But even in the instruction manual, it tells you that you can actually use it for the beam saber. All right, here we go. Here's with the beam saber and the thruster effect parts. It really only came with 2, so I used extras I got from the effect options part and all that. So yeah. Yeah, so there you have it. That's a GP02. Really awesome Robot Spirits action figure and just really cool Gundam in general. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of the Robot Spirits version, or if you have the Gunpla version, or what you think about it in the anime. So thanks for watching. Talk later.